So today I'm going to do a video that's obviously quite different to what I usually do, and it's a get to know me video because I've never really sat down with you guys and just had like a chatty conversation, just sort of speaking about me so you can kind of get to know me better. So I thought I would do that today, and yeah, so I'm just filming in my lounge, just really casually sitting on the sofa. So I'm just going to get started. So obviously my name is Claudia. I'm 24 and I live in Kent, and I own my own house, and I live here with my boyfriend, and I've also got a house bunny called Luke, and my boyfriend's also called Luke, but I know that's really weird, but we adopted our bunny, and he was already called Luke, so we felt like it was fate, and that's why we took him. And then we were like, we can't change his name because that was the reason that we picked him. So he's also Luke as well. So there can be a bit of confusion when I'm calling one or the other. They both come running sometimes, which is quite funny. So yeah, I've also got two pugs, an apricot pug called Albert and a black female pug called Poppy, but they don't live with me, they live at home with my mum. And they were actually one of the reasons that I got my house bunny when I moved out, because I don't know, I just kind of missed them. Like, I guess you guys know if you've got a pet, but I just really missed having a pet around, and I don't know, I just felt quite lonely, but I work quite long hours, which I'll get into in a minute, so we didn't really feel like we could get a dog because we're not really home that much. So with a house bunny, it's just so much easier because they're really loving, and where he just sort of runs around, it's basically just like having a dog, but he's leash trained. He doesn't bark and he doesn't try and steal my food like my pugs used to. So it's really great having him around. So if you didn't know already, I work in fashion. I work at the Yoox Net-a-Porter group, and I'm on the fashion team at the Outnet. Obviously this channel has nothing to do with that. This is all just like my personal things that I do. But yeah, so my role is senior fashion assistant, and I absolutely love it. I think I've worked in fashion. I've had this job for about nearly 2.5 years now, and before I got this job, I was obviously interning. So I got a promotion this time last year from fashion assistant to senior fashion assistant, which is obviously really great. And before that, I'll just go into my whole intern story. I think people might find it quite interesting about how to get a job in fashion, because I think when I first started, you are completely clueless. I knew I always wanted to work in fashion, and I didn't really know what to do, and I feel like the only thing that I sort of knew was to go to university and study fashion. And so from school, I went to uni, and I went to UCA in Epsom, and I did the fashion journalism course. But I only did the first year because what I didn't realise was that actually I just didn't need this course to get my job, and I just felt like I was wasting time essentially from staying here and just carrying on doing it for the full 3 years. So I made the decision to leave after a year because I was actually interning during all of the holidays, and so many people said to me, like, if I was you, I wouldn't carry on. Like, I did the exact same thing, and like, I'm so much older, and like, you could leave now and you could sort of start from here. So that's exactly what I decided to do. But anyway, so obviously I knew before I left school that I wanted to work in fashion. But I think my first internship was when I was at school, and I was 16, and it was at Sugar Magazine, which was really great. I think it was just actually for a week or a couple of days. It was just somebody that I had got in contact with through Twitter. And I'd say that Twitter was actually a really great platform for me, and I actually got a couple of my internships from there. so I got my first one at Sugar Magazine, and then that was, so obviously, as I said, I was 16 when I did that, and it was only really sort of my first year at uni that I started interning properly. But so what I did is on Twitter I followed everybody I could find that worked in the industry. So like all the fashion editors, the fashion assistants, just so that I could sort of see what they were doing and like keep on top of if they ever said that they needed an intern and things like that. Twitter was very new then, and luckily I had a mum who was like very into social media and fashion, and it was actually her that told me to join Twitter for that reason. So I did that, and my first proper internship I got was through Twitter, and that was at Red Magazine. So the fashion editor tweeted one day saying like, we urgently need an intern to start tomorrow. So I just tweeted and I was like, oh, I'm available. Like, I can definitely come and start tomorrow. So later that day we were just liaising over Twitter, and then she called me later that day and she was like, yeah, that'd be great if you could start tomorrow. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, it was that easy because I was just sort of in the right place at the right time. But obviously if I hadn't have sort of thought to myself, oh, I should go on Twitter and do that, I would have got that internship. So it kind of started from there, and then I absolutely loved my time at Red Magazine. And the main thing is in the fashion industry is you need to make your mark. You really need to stand out in front of other people because the industry is actually quite small and everybody knows each other. So I literally gave it like everything when I was at my internship. Like, I was constantly asking, like, is there anything else I can do? Like, you've just got to go above and beyond, basically. Like, that's what you need to do to be a good intern. And that led to so many different things for me. Because Red Magazine is part of the Hearst Group, which is also like Elle and Company Magazine at the time, and loads of other different magazines. Obviously everybody works in the same building, so that led to them being like, oh, we've just had this really great intern. So, like, if you're looking for somebody, then definitely contact her. And because obviously other teams would also go to people and be like, oh, do you know any good interns? We really need like a good intern. And it just happened like that. I got so many internships and it was all through word of mouth. So I've done Red Magazine, New Magazine. That was one of my longest internships. I was there for 3 months, but that was obviously one of my later ones. I did More Magazine. I did Fabulous Magazine, which is the magazine that comes with The Sun. I also did, oh God, I've done so many. Let me have a look. I wrote them down somewhere because I knew that I would forget. Oh yes, I've done Marie Claire. I've done Stylist. I've done Vogue. I mean, I'm sure there's more, but I can't really think of any more from the top of my head. But obviously, when you're interning, you are working for free. Like, that's just, unfortunately, it's just industry, and it's still that same way now at magazines. And the way that the companies get away with it is because you're only there for 4 weeks. I think if you were there for longer than 4 weeks, then by law they would have to pay you. So yeah, just you do 4 like sort of weekly internships. And then in 2013 I got my first paid internship, and that was at the Outnet, hence where I am now. And it was just a 3-month thing, but the fact that it was paid was like the biggest like milestone ever. Like, I remember I was like absolutely over the moon because at the time I was working in the Co-op, and just at the weekend, so I could like fund my travel to London. Obviously that didn't pay for it all because I was only working in the Co-op part-time on Saturday and Sunday. So it was just really difficult. You did get some expenses back, like some places would just pay you like £5 a day, which is obviously nothing. I live outside of London, and I was commuting for 5 hours a day, like 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours back, and I still do that now. I know I'm crazy. But I just think when you love your job, it's just something that obviously you're willing to do. So I was doing that, and when I started interning full time after I left uni, I was working 7 days a week for about a year, I think, because even when I was getting paid at the Outnet, when I got my first one, I didn't want to quit my weekend job because I was just like, well, it's only 3 months long. If I then have nothing after this, then I'm not going to have any money. And I didn't want to have to rely on my parents every time I wanted to do something. Obviously I decided to do that. And then luckily, towards the end of the 3 months, they asked me if I wanted to stay for an extra 3 months. So of course I was like, yeah, because I absolutely loved it there. And then when I left there, I did another 6-month paid internship in the studio, still at Net-a-Porter, but yeah, it was in the studio, and I was working across all 3 brands, so that's Net-a-Porter, the Outnet and Mr Porter, which it was a really, really good experience. It was really intense. I don't think I've probably ever sweat as much in my life as I did in those 6 months, because you are on your feet constantly. Working in fashion is hard. I don't think people understand that. I think they probably think that it's a bit of a DOS, but trust me, it's really bloody hard. You've got to work your ass off. If you want to get anywhere, that's the only way. So, obviously, yeah, all of that happened. And then when I left the studio, I realised I didn't want to work in the studio after doing my internship, which was fine. And I knew that I definitely wanted to work more on the creative editorial side of fashion, which is what I was doing in my internship at the Outnet and at all the magazines. So that's what I decided to go back to. So I actually went to Vogue after I did that internship in the studio, because they contacted me and asked me to go along, which was amazing. And then Marie Claire contacted me again and asked me if I'd freelance as fashion assistant for them, because their fashion assistant had just left, and that was over Fashion Week for a month. So that was a really, really great experience. It was very intense, but it was really, really good. And then I just decided to go freelance because I felt like I'd done the majority of magazines, and I just felt like I didn't want to carry on working for nothing anymore. And at least if you're freelance as an assistant, obviously there are some jobs that are worth doing to meet people, but that are for free. They expect you to do it for free, but the majority of the jobs are paid. So I did that for a couple of months, and then the girls, obviously, who I work with now, back then at the time, they messaged me and they said that somebody had left and that they really wanted me to interview for the fashion assistant position. So obviously, I was absolutely over the moon. So I realise I keep saying, I'm really sorry about that, but I don't know why I keep doing that. So yeah, I went along for the interview, and then I actually found out later that day that I'd got the job. I was staying at my sister's house in London, and we went out for a meal, and some drinks as a little celebration, because I don't think people appreciate how hard it is to get a proper permanent position in the fashion industry. When you get that first job, it's literally, you feel like you've conquered the world. I know it sounds ridiculous, but honestly, that is exactly what it feels like. It feels like the biggest achievement ever. That feeling will never leave me. To go from earning nothing to then getting a permanent job in an industry that you absolutely love, and the job of your dreams, working for an absolutely amazing company. And at the time, when I got my permanent position, I'd only just turned 22, which I think is amazing, because so many fashion assistants that I'd met along the way were all sort of 26, 27. So I just felt like it was such a big accomplishment for me. And then I found out when I started that the next week I was going to be going to LA. And that's one thing that I never really thought about until obviously I started interning in the industry, is the travelling side. I never thought I would have my dream job and also get to travel the world. I'm so lucky that I also do get to do that. I've been to LA twice, I've been to New York twice, I've been to Paris, I've been to Ibiza. Where else have I been? Trying to think. I can't think where else I've been, but just to name a few, like they're some of the amazing places that I've been able to travel to in the last 2 years. And we go away because for obviously photo shoots, because when it's winter here, but you're shooting for spring, summer, and you need the sun, and you just need like an amazing location. That's why I always go away. So yeah, I think that kind of covers my job. I actually ended up rambling for ages. I'm really sorry about that, but I just thought that that's something that maybe people would find really interesting. And I just absolutely love my job, and I'm so lucky because I get to do my own shoots at work, which means like I'm the stylist. I get to style all the clothes and etc. etc. So yeah, absolutely love it. But yeah, enough of my job. If you have got any more questions or you want any more like in-depth questions answered, then please do leave me any questions below and I'll definitely get back to you. So what else is next on my list? So, oh yeah, I've also got 2 older sisters and I've got a little brother as well. My older sisters are called Chloe and Courtney, and my brother's called Charlie, so we're all C's. And my fun fact that I always say is that I am basically a Kardashian because my sisters are Chloe and Courtney, so you know, pretty cool, and we're all C's. So yeah, I've got that, and then I was just going to like just say some like random things that I thought you might want to know. But so I just wanted to say my favourite holiday that I've been on is probably definitely Thailand. I think it was about 3 years ago now, and myself and Luke, we travelled Thailand together for like 2.5 weeks. Went to like all different places and it was incredible. It was like such a great experience. But I'd say that my favourite city break is probably Budapest or Florence. But then I did really love Rome as well. It's a really hard question. I just remember in Budapest, we went in the winter, but I just really fell in love with the city. But then obviously Italy's absolutely amazing. So I really loved those as well. And then I just thought I'd say about my favourite high street brands. So I find that I do tend to just sort of shop in Topshop and also online at ASOS. They're probably like my 2 go-to high street brands. I will occasionally shop in like H&M, River Island and Zara, but those 2 are probably the places where I definitely sort of shop the most. And if you didn't know already and you hadn't realised from a lot of the videos that I do on my channel, I love designer things, and it doesn't help because obviously I work at a designer retailer. But yeah, so my favourite designer brands is more for like accessories, because I love designer accessories and I don't care about wearing high street clothes, that's fine, but I do always want designer accessories. So my favourite designer accessory brands I'd say probably are Sophia Webster. I absolutely love her shoes. Valentino, I think they do such lovely shoes and bags. I really want a Saint Laurent bag. I love all of their accessories. And then obviously Chanel, you know. And obviously Gucci. I mean, I've got 2 Gucci bags. I absolutely love Gucci. And the next purchase on my list, I actually do really want a Saint Laurent bag, I think. I'm not 100% decided on the colour that I want. But yeah, I do really, really want one of those. So watch out for that. Hopefully I'll get one of those in the next couple of months. I'd say the makeup, the 2 pieces of makeup that I couldn't live without would definitely be mascara and lipstick. I absolutely love mascara, and I feel like if I don't wear lipstick, I look really weird. So I feel like I always have to wear lipstick. And then what else do I think you guys might want to know? Oh, so my next holiday is, I'm literally so excited for it. We're going to Florida for 2 weeks. I've never been, and I'm literally the biggest Disney fanatic you will ever meet in your life. I love Disney so much, and the fact that I've never been to Disneyland Florida is just absolutely crazy. So I cannot wait for that. It's going to be amazing. We're not going until later on in the year though. My favourite films, I love musicals. I'm not gonna lie, I love musicals. I love singing along to films. So I'd definitely say mine are The Sound of Music, such a classic. Mary Poppins, bit of a theme going on here with Julie Andrews. She is just amazing. I also love like Legally Blonde, and Wild Child. If you haven't seen that, that's a great film. Nothing revolutionary, very girly films. And I also have watched Moana recently. I think that was amazing. And also the new Beauty and the Beast was incredible as well. So my favourite animals are probably obviously bunnies, pugs, you know, but definitely flamingos and pigs. I know it's really random, and they're complete like polar opposites, but love them both. And I'd probably say that's all I can think of that you sort of might want to know about me. Just some really sort of random facts there, but I just thought it'd be really great for you guys to get to know me a little bit better, because it's hard obviously when you're just filming a video and it's like a haul. You're not just going to sit there and be like, oh yeah, so I like this is what I'm about, and blah 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 blah. So yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're new, and don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I've probably rambled on, it's probably really long, so well done you if you've actually carried on watching until this point. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.